What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode here on my Pirates podcast. I'm working on a name. I'm working on an AI logo. I don't know what I'm doing with my creation stuff, but the trade deadline is done. And let me just say before we start, thank you everyone who tuned into the live stream. I did an emergency live stream to react to an awful trade deadline literally an hour or two after it ended. I looked at my YouTube Studio app and it has 18 likes, and for a small channel, that's awesome. I thank you all for watching that. I wasn't expecting to get at least concurrent viewers on it, so that was awesome. So if you're back for this, thank you for coming back. Hopefully you guys check out all the other episodes. But today, we're going to take a deeper look at what the Pirates actually did in this trade deadline. The live stream I did was just reactions. It was just, this sucks. This is awful. I wanted to take a look at the trade deadline, what they got back, 2 days later. It's Saturday when I'm recording this, so it'll be Saturday when this comes up. And I want to take a look at the prospects they got. I want to take a look at what happened maybe wrong with some of these players that were traded away, why they were traded away. And at the end, I want to just decipher what's going on in this organization, because I'll just say, this deadline sucked. It was an awful trade deadline for the Pirates and their future, especially for a team that keeps preaching we need to make the team better in 2026. They did not make the team better in 2026. So let's kick things off. I'm not going to talk about the Frazier for Devaney trade. That honestly, sadly, might be one of the better trades Ben Cherington made this trade deadline, and it happened a couple weeks ago. We're going to start with the Ke'Bryan Hayes to the Cincinnati Reds deal that happened on Wednesday, the day before the trade deadline, where they got Taylor Rogers, a left-handed pitcher who was making more money than Ke'Bryan Hayes and was eventually flipped at the last second of the deadline, and then Sammy Stafura, who was a top 10 prospect in the Reds organization. So I'm going to go to Stafura's page really quick and read you his where he ranks on the Pirates rankings. So he ranks right now in the 7th position in the top Pirates prospects, which honestly, pretty cool for him. It's cool to see that out of a guy they at least got for Ke'Bryan Hayes. Stafura, his scouting grades, 50 hit, 45 power, 65 run, 55 arm, field 55, an overall grade of 50. I guess that's okay. And they added a top 10 prospect for Ke'Bryan Hayes. And I guess a big win in this deal was getting a team, especially a division rival, you could say, to eat the entire Ke'Bryan Hayes deal. Now, a Ke'Bryan Hayes deal, what sucks about it is to a real MLB team, it's probably not that much money. I think it's $7 million at the top of my head. It's not that much. It was basically front-loaded as a contract. They're going to be paying less money as the years go on up until around 2030 when it's a done contract. And I'm very curious if the Reds are going to stick with him throughout that contract, because we all know Ke'Bryan's bat isn't the best, but that defense is irreplaceable. Sure, the Pirates have a Jared Triolo type, but the thing is with Jared Triolo and Ke'Bryan Hayes, they're practically the same player. I think we can all see they are the same exact player. They both have a great glove. They both have a gold glove. Triolo has the utility one. Ke'Bryan got the third base one. And Triolo, if he plays every day, could be a gold glove third baseman. The problem is, neither of them can hit for power. Neither of them can hit for basic average. They are, or OPS even. Both of these guys are in the 500s or 600s, it seems, all the time for OPS, and sometimes even lower, especially for Jared Triolo's concerns, because he plays less than Ke'Bryan Hayes. But now, Triolo is more than likely going to be the everyday option at third base, or an every other day option as third base, because we'll get into the IKF stuff, why they're still here, it makes no sense. But going over, why this happened, it sucks that this is how it had to work for Ke'Bryan Hayes. It's honestly a really sad story how it goes on. He looked like he was going to be the guy to be a essential part of this Ben Cherington-led regime with Travis Williams as president, Derek Shelton as manager, and this was the new group that Bob Nutting brings in, and they actually, to their credit, extended a young player in Ke'Bryan Hayes. They extended a Brian Reynolds and Mitch Keller, of course, years later, but they started it out with Ke'Bryan Hayes and to try to make him the piece to help lead this core of young players and to be that guy. And of course, we've seen Ke'Bryan Hayes has these stints of he's as bad as on fire, but he just can't hit for power. And the third base position, I think every one of us can agree, it's a position where you need to hit for power. It is no longer a position where it's just a contact-driven part of it. Look at Suarez, who just got traded to the Mariners. He's hitting nukes. Then I look at Ke'Bryan Hayes. He's hitting wall scrapers. I think he now has 3 because of course he had a home run with the Reds in his Reds debut and sparked a comeback. I thought that was hilarious. But whenever I look at this Hayes deal, it's good for the Pirates. It can be good for the Reds as well because the Reds are getting a third baseman. There were some fans of the Reds that were like, we wanted a power guy. They wanted a Suarez reunion. They didn't get that. But they get Hayes locked up under contract. They take up all the money. The thing that sucks on the Pirates' end is this has left a hole at third base where now you're probably going to have to, and I hope they do, address it in the offseason. Jared Triolo can play great defense, but it's literally just another Ke'Bryan Hayes situation, everybody. It's another guy that can't hit. And this is a team that just doesn't know how to develop hitters to the proper capability of being a major league hitter. The only one that has looked good of recent has been Nick Gonzalez. That's the only guy Ben has drafted that has looked good. And I'm not going to turn this into a tangent anymore. I just want to try to break this down because the tangent was in the live stream. Go back and watch that if you would please. But this trade just showed that the Pirates just gave up on a guy, which it was probably long overdue. But it's like they have created more holes for 2026 than what they said they wanted to address in 2026. But going to Sammy Stafura very briefly, they actually got a top 10 guy over for Stafura. Props to them. Like, to get rid of that Ke'Bryan Hayes contract and get a top 10 prospect who was drafted in 2023 in the second round, 43rd overall. His ETA is 2027, so for a low A guy to be an ETA of 2027, that's pretty cool. And when I'm looking at the pipeline page on my other monitor right here, guys that are expected in 2027, Connor Griffin, and then Sammy Stafura. That can be a pretty solid middle infield. I know Griffin's expected shortstop outfield. Stafura is right now a shortstop. And the argument is, what's with all these shortstops? I mean, you can't really help it. You have a young core. You have Edward Florentino, who's been on fire. And I'll probably make a prospect episode sometime down the road because it's more fun to talk about prospects at this point. But he's been catching fire as well. He's a 2029 guy because he's 18 years old. But hopefully Sammy Stafura can do something for this organization. I'm really curious about this one. He almost had a cycle in his first game with Bradenton as well. He had a pretty good debut with the Bradenton Marauders, which was pretty cool. He's had 8 at-bats so far, and in those 8 at-bats in 2 games, he already has 3 hits. So, I mean, it's been a solid start for Stafura coming over from the Cincinnati Reds. I don't even want to grade these deals. I mean, you can leave comments and whatever you want. This is just I think it's just a B- C+. They got rid of Hayes' contract. I wish him nothing but the best. Ke'Bryan Hayes was one of my favorite Pirates. I'm going to miss that glove. But it had to happen, and it sucks that it had to happen this way. Moving on to the next one, this is just the typical lottery ticket they got for Caleb Ferguson. Caleb Ferguson was one of the many rentals that you would expect to be traded. Caleb Ferguson goes to Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners have been linked to the Pirates in the previous couple of weeks, especially for the relievers. I thought it was going to be a Bednar Santana, but they settled for something else for David Bednar, which we'll get to next. Not to spoil anything, but they got a guy by the name of Jeter Martinez, who right now in the Pirates organization ranks 23rd. He's 19 years old. He was an international prospect brought in to the Mariners. He was a top 50 international prospect, and he was one of 7 pitchers in the MLB Pipeline's top 50 international prospects list in the 2023 signing period. So he comes over. He's going to be on the Greensboro Grasshoppers High A. I don't really have much to add about Jeter Martinez. Here's his scouting grades: a 55 fastball, 55 slider, a 50 changeup, 40 control, overall grade of 40. I think he is going to be a project. He's 6'4", 180 pounds. He's a bigger type pitcher. But here's the thing. If there's one organization that I can give props to when it comes to developing pitching, it's the Mariners and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they just swapped a reliever for another guy. Right-handed pitcher is Jeter Martinez. Right now, he's started 16 games this year in low A with the Mariners, and it hasn't been good. He's been in rookie ball his last 2 seasons. ERA in 2023 when he first came up, 172, 8 starts. In 11 starts last season, still in rookie ball, he had a 386. This year, in his first stint in low A, he has a 618. Now, a lot of people looked at the ERA and just said he stinks. I can't say that about a 19-year-old who's not going to touch the major leagues. His ETA is 2028, guys. You can hate all you want. I'm not going to hate this deal. I saw so many people hating this Caleb Ferguson return. They were like, why aren't we getting a major league bat for Caleb Ferguson? You're not going to. You're not going to. This is the exact type of return you should be getting for rentals on cheap contracts is lottery tickets. That's how O'Neal Cruz came here. He was a lottery ticket. The Dodgers got Tony Watson for O'Neal Cruz. Lottery tickets. This is exactly what they needed to do. This was a good deal. I'm curious. This is a type of guy that maybe could just hang out in the organization for a while. They develop him. I'm curious what he will do in Greensboro because we all know that is a boombox for hitters. So let's see what happens. I don't even know how to grade this one. I guess as B or C again. They got a lottery ticket. They got rid of Caleb Ferguson, who was having a solid year. I wish Ferguson nothing but the best. Probably one of their best free agents they signed. Moving on though. To by far, probably, it's sad that this might not even be the worst trade they made during the trade deadline. This, of course, being David Bednar going. David Bednar, one of my favorite players on this team, and they gave him away. So the whole thing was they wanted a top 5 prospect for David Bednar. They settled for the Yankees' 8th, 14th, and an unranked prospect. And the 8th and 14th ranked prospects are catchers / first baseman. The headliner is Rafael Flores. Now, let's take a look at Rafael Flores, then we'll get into the other guys that they got. And we're only going to look at the ranked prospects as well, because I can't really find these prospect pages if they're not in the top 30. And honestly, no offense to guys not in the top 30, I'm just not as interested in looking at what they can do or affect this organization. But whenever you look at Rafael Flores, so they get the Yankees' 8th best prospect, and you're like, oh, okay, let's see where he ranks in the Pirates. He ranks 11th. They added an 11th best prospect to their organization. Ben Cherington had other offers, and he was asked in the post-deadline interviews, and I was already frustrated enough. The entire fan base is already frustrated enough. He had better prospect packages to choose from, and he chose this one because this is what he preferred. He preferred the lesser return. Now, Rafael Flores is going to be going to AAA Indianapolis, and he has yet to make his first game. It's probably going to be this weekend sometime. He just got called up to AAA, so let's take a look at his bio really quick. Scouting grade, 45 hit, 50 power, 135. He's not fast. Arm, 50, field, 45, overall grade, 45. For David Bednar, that's not honestly what I wanted. When I saw the Yankees were the team interested in him, I was like, this sucks, because the Yankees, it's a very overhyped organization when it comes to hitters, in my opinion. They had a lot of pitchers in their top 5. If they would have gotten a top 5 prospect being a pitcher and then maybe Rafael Flores, I'm probably sounding a little bit different. But Rafael Flores, this is no offense to him. This episode is literally just going to be breaking these prospects down. But I have a gut feeling there's so many fans that are going to hate on this poor kid who is he's 24, but they're going to hate on this guy who's never played in the major leagues when he comes up, expecting him to be something he probably isn't, and that is a competent major league bat. Ben Cherington and this front office have put unnecessary expectations on this guy. I feel bad for him because we all know this fan base. We're all frustrated. And Rafael Flores now has the highest expectations besides Connor Griffin, I think. Maybe Sammy Stafura, but more so Rafael Flores, because this was the key piece of the biggest trade that Ben Cherington made this trade deadline. And now he has the highest expectations of them all. Rafael Flores, though, this is what got people. So far in 2025 across 2 levels, AA and AAA, A 279 average, a 351 OBP, slugging 475, 826 OPS, as well as 16 home runs. He hit 21 last year, 8 the year before, and then 2 in his first year in rookie ball. He has some pop. But when we break that down more, Double-A this year, a 287 average, 346 OBP, 496 slugging, and 842 OPS, 87 games, 15 home runs. He's been in Triple-A only for 10 games. So sure, he's close to the major leagues, but is he going to touch the major leagues this season? I don't know. And this also asks questions about what the plan is for Henry Davis. What's the plan for Endy Rodriguez? Is this just a move to get those guys going and tell them, be like, there's another guy in the wings ready to take your job? Because I think Henry Davis needs pushed to the moon to like it's wrestling in per se. It's SummerSlam weekend. 3 Yinzer 316. Happy SummerSlam, everybody. But it's time to push Henry Davis to the moon of what he should become as a 1-1 pick. And this could be the move to pressure him to do that. Hit better. Please. I want to hope for his success. But right now in AAA, 211, 388, 289, 677. Not as good in AAA, but sure. It's an adjustment period. I don't want to say pyramid, but adjustment period. And I'm not going to be picky about that. I mean, there's Pirates fans, of course, like the older guys, and they're like, well, he's hitting 211 in AAA. He stinks. This is nothing against Rafael Flores. It's an adjustment period. I'm curious how he's going to hit in Indianapolis. I actually am. But, absolutely but, I think there's going to be a lot of sad expectations on Flores to be something he probably isn't, and that is a star player because of what Ben Cherington did and settled for him being the best prospect that they got in their best deal. And it's crazy, the deal for Ke'Bryan Hayes that many could just call a salary dump, even though like they got a low-level prospect top 10. Stafura is the best prospect they got, but Flores is the best return they got. The prospect that's ready to go, I guess, sooner is Flores. So there's going to be more expectations on Flores than Stafura, which, no offense to them, like I said, but Ben Cherington in his front office has created these unnecessary expectations for a 24-year-old catcher / first baseman. Who knows where he's going to play? Maybe designated hitter. Who knows? Moving on to the other guy they got really quick, Edglin Perez. I think that's how you pronounce it. He is only 19 years old. He's another catcher, first baseman. They got 2 catchers / first baseman from the Yankees organization. If something, they know how to develop catchers, I guess. They gave up Agustin Ramirez to the Marlins last year, and look at him now. 50 hit, 45 power, 40 runs, 60 arm, field 55. Nothing really to add about Perez. He slots in at the 15th best prospect in the Pirates organization. That's cool for him. I'm rooting for the kid. I'm rooting for all these prospects to succeed because it's sad the GM has created this situation for them. And I'm rooting for them. I think that's all we can do. All you can do as a fan is just root for these prospects. Don't hate on them if they don't perform well. Just go be mad at the organization in general, because this was an awful deadline. But yeah, those are the return. And then Brian Sanchez, an outfielder, not even ranked in the top 30. I can't really find his page, but there were some Yankees fans saying he could be something, but he's still in the low levels. So maybe he gets in the top 30 at some point in the Pirates at work, but I wouldn't count on it. Moving on though, this one, I can't even pull up their prospect pages because neither of them are in the top 30. So while we're all mad about the David Bednar deal, Ben Cherington pulls the trigger on a Bailey Falter deal. He gets Evan Sisk, a left-handed pitcher from the Royals, and Kalen Moss, a first baseman from the Royals. Neither of these guys are on the Major League roster. Now, Sisk has pitched in the majors before. I think he said he's 28 years old, left-handed reliever. He could be interesting in this bullpen. However, you traded Bailey Falter, who was under team control for years to come. Pretty sure 2029. I know I said on the live stream maybe 1 or 2 years. Comes out, it's 2029. You traded Bailey Falter, one of your probably your best left-handed pitcher in the majors in your rotation besides Heaney, who for some reason is still in this organization, for 2 prospects. I wouldn't call one a prospect being Sisk, but 2 guys that aren't even in your top 30. This is the type of return Heaney should have got. IKF. Fam. Falter got that? That's just disrespectful. Then it came out after that they were going to have him as a non-tender candidate. They were going to let Bailey Falter leave for nothing. Nothing! Now I'm getting mad at this one. Like, I should be more angry at the David Bednar deal. This is just laughable. They were going to let Bailey Falter go for nothing. A guy with years of control. They got 2 guys that aren't even top 30 prospects. 2! Surprised they didn't get 5. This is the equivalent of 5 Hoy Parks. 5! They got nothing for Bailey Falter, and I couldn't be more angry about this one. This is an F. The David Bednar trade probably is an F, but right now is a D-. Sure, I'm rooting for these prospects. I'm rooting for Sisk. I'm rooting for Moss to even become anything with this organization. Probably Sisk more so because he's already been in the majors. But here's the problem. You gave up Falter for nothing. You were going to let him walk for nothing because you didn't want to pay him $3.8 million on his option. That's nothing to any other normal franchise. You were going to let this guy leave. Bailey Falter's been a great pitcher for the Pirates. Great. Had a historic month of May. And he's been competent enough to be an organizational starting pitcher, to be a good one in your organization. And you were just going to let him walk out of town for nothing, and you traded him for nothing instead. What's the difference? Why is Ben Cherington still employed? I basically reiterated this the entire live stream when I was just dumbfounded by especially this deal. When this one got announced, the Royals organization already doesn't have really good prospects, and they chose the Royals. Bailey Falter's a guy that thrives at PNC Park too because he's a fly ball guy, and they're not going to be able to hit it out in left field because it's a deep part of the ballpark. Bailey Falter got nothing in return. This is an F. No offense to these prospects. This is all offense to the front office. This was a joke. An absolute joke. And then, of course, the final trade. Taylor Rogers goes to the Cubs for Ivan Brethauer. I think that's how you pronounce it, an outfielder from the Cubs. Rogers, of course, was part of the Hayes deal, so the Hayes deal basically only got Sammy Stafura, and I'd say that one was worth it because he's a top 10 prospect. Ivan Brethauer isn't even in the Pirates' top 30. I don't even think he was in the Cubs' top 30. Don't really have much to add about that one. I'm more mad about the Bailey Falter move. Completely more mad about the Bailey Falter. The Bednar and Falter moves, especially the Falter one, that's a fireable offense. This GM has already done enough that is a fireable offense. The Bailey Falter one is an even bigger one. That is disgusting. Every single GM in the league is probably just pointing and laughing at this guy, Ben Cherington, Bob Nutting, Travis Williams, all of them. Every single scout in that front office that scouted this guy, the pro scouting development for any of these dudes that decide to trade him, they are probably being laughed at. Being laughed at. Any other competent organization moves on from these guys. Ben, Travis, all of them should have been gone with Derek Shelton. Derek Shelton was the scapegoat. I already wasn't a fan of Derek Shelton as the manager. Now he's on MLB Network, which is just the ultimate Pirate manager to MLB Network correspondent. Neither of these guys should still be here. Travis Williams never had baseball experience as a president, and now he's a president of a baseball team that has dealt with bucko bricks all year long. Clemente signs. Fans falling out of the stands. Bad PR all season long. And what did he do? What did he get? It's nothing. GM, he has a World Series, but besides that, he's been a loser his entire career. And this was such a loser type of trade deadline. Loser moves is trading Bailey Falter for nothing. Loser move is saying you wanted the asking price for Bednar was a top 5 prospect. And an organization. You could have chose from the Tigers. You could have chose from the Mariners, the Cubs. At that point, I would have been fine with him being a Cub because even though they have some guys in their top 5 that are actually kind of intriguing. The Yankees, they're not giving... I don't care what people say about Spencer Jones or Lombard Jr. They weren't going anywhere. They weren't. They got nothing. They couldn't even get a top 5 guy from the Yankees. Like I said, if they would have landed one of the Yankees pitchers in the top 5 and Flores, I'd be less angry. But no, he, instead of saying, I wanted a top 5, that's the demand, that's the asking price, he settled for a deal that was less than what he was offered from other teams. He settled for an 8th, 14th, and unranked prospect from another team, being the Yankees, who have an awful farm system, in my honest opinion. And I think a lot of people can say that. I'm on fire right now. This is fireable. This was a mess, and then last night they lose 17-16 after leading 9-0 in the first inning. They were leading 9-0 in the first inning. Now I'm going on a tangent about that game. That's another episode. Maybe we'll do a Rockies series review, because I'm completely expecting them to get swept out of Colorado, because it's the most Pirates thing to do. Finally, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben, for ruining my Saturday right now, just having me talk about this. This is just hilarious that any of this happened. Here's the big problem. They didn't trade any rentals. Why is Andrew Heaney still a Pirate? Why is Tommy Pham still a Pirate? Why is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa still a Pirate? IKF has value as a utility guy. Tommy Pham, who had no value at all a couple months ago, has one of the best bats in baseball in the last month or so, and you couldn't even trade Tommy Pham for cash considerations. This is the only GM in Major League Baseball that doesn't know how to trade for cash. We couldn't even get our favorite player cash considerations for Andrew Heaney? What? I'm losing my dang mind talking about this deadline. It was a disaster. How do you not trade a single rental? Caleb Ferguson, that's a rental. They traded him for a lottery ticket. They said, here you go, Seattle Mariners. Take Caleb Ferguson, give us Jeter Martinez, and we'll tell our fans it's a lottery ticket. We understand that. That's what you expect. But they couldn't flip IKF. They couldn't flip Tommy Pham, who was a hot bat at the time and still is. They couldn't even flip Andrew Heaney to be a bullpen guy or like 5-starter just to help a team get to the playoffs. Heaney doesn't even have to pitch in the playoffs. Of all those 3 guys, Heaney has the worst value, but teams wanted him. And Ben said in his post-conference, they basically said they didn't have to trade any of these guys. What is this doing for the 2026 team? Heaney, IKF, and Pham are not going to be on the 2026 Pittsburgh Pirates. They are not. I don't know what else to tell people. I think we can all agree is that as Yinzers, these guys are not part of 2026. They aren't. I am fuming right now talking about this because this could have been all on the live stream. I should have done this live. It would have been hilarious. But this dude is a loser. They say it on North Shore 9 that I'm doing stuff for. Losers, you're all a bunch of losers. I'm less mad at the players. I could care less about what the players are doing. This organization is a dumpster fire. They compared them to the Browns of baseball. They might not have the worst record right now in Major League Baseball, but this year has felt like it. This last week has felt like it. They go from sweeping the Giants to blowing a 9-0 lead and losing a football game score 17-16 in walk-off fashion the day after they trade their closer for crap. The day after they trade Bailey Falter for crap. No offense to the players that I'm throwing in with this crap pile, the prospects they got. Like I said, rooting for their success. But it sure feels like the organization and Ben, Bob, Travis, or whatever thought of these players like, let's just give them away for nothing. And I don't care what this whole thing is that they're going to use this money to fill up these organizational spots. They're not going to. When has the Pirates spent money on a free agent? When? Aroldis Chapman 1-year contract? The way you do that and tell your fans you're changing is do something big in the offseason. But until we see that, they are not changing. They are not going to do that. They are not. They need like I said, I brought up since they kept these rentals, how are the young guys going to play too? IKF's going to be playing short or third every single day. Tommy Pham's going to be playing outfield basically every day. Andrew Heaney is going to be starting every 5th day. Look at all the young pitchers you have. You could have now, you took, Falter's the better lefty out of him and Heaney, but you traded the better one to keep Heaney. Why? Like, what are we doing? Like, F grade all around. They all failed this trade deadline. It was a joke. Sorry I'm like screaming at the top of my lung. Like, I'm not even screaming right now. You should have heard me on Thursday when the Falter trade happened. I didn't even scream. I just laughed because when you saw the return and like when you first saw Falter trade, you're like, this better be good. But then in the back of your head, you're like, it's going to be bad based off what just happened. But when you look at the 2026 roster right now, catcher, it's Henry Davis versus a bunch of prospects. I don't think Joey Bart's going to be here. I don't think he should be here because he hasn't been doing good this year. He's taken a step back. He's looked like the Joey Bart that was DFA'd, put on waivers by the San Francisco Giants, and I've said this multiple times. Henry Davis is starting to go down the Joey Bart career route, which kind of sucks as he's a 1-1 and they're going to hold on to him. But then you got Rafael Flores, Andy Rodriguez. You have all these young catchers, and it's just a roulette. It's just a carousel, a quarterback carousel. This is a catcher carousel. First base is Horwitz. Fine, I guess. I'm not iffy. I'm iffy on that one still. Chronic wrist issue. He's now platooning with Leover Peguero. Leover Peguero is our first baseman in today's game, by the way. Game 2 against the Rockies. Leover Peguero, who's been a shortstop his entire career, has been playing first base for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's enough to just show how this organization just sucks. Third base. Well, second base is Nicky G. Fine. Nick Gonzalez deserves it. Second baseman. I like him. Shortstop. Who's going to be short? Cam Devaney, I thought was going to be up this weekend. He's not even here because IKF's still on the team. Third base. Who? You got rid of Brian Hayes, and I don't want him replaced by Jared Triolo, at least for next year. Triolo can play the rest of this year. See what you have. That's what should be doing. That's what we should be doing right now. Triolo should be an everyday third baseman. I don't care how bad the bat is. Let him try to unlock, and if he doesn't, he's not your option. He's a backup at that. He can't be your everyday starter next year. So that's why that's third base is now who is that? Left field, we all know that one. Who? Center field, O'Neal Cruz. That's fine. Right field, right now, Brian Reynolds is not having a great year, but what if Kutch retires? Then Reynolds goes probably, I would put him at DH, and then right field becomes a who? They're not gonna spend money in the offseason, guys. They are not. And they're gonna trade Mitch Keller. Everyone says they're gonna trade Mitch Keller for a bat. Do you really trust Ben Cherington to do that? I don't. We're already at around 32 minutes. I'm gonna try to end this episode. So thank you all for watching this. First of all, this has been an awful trade deadline. I think we can all agree. This was a disaster. Now, the plan is maybe we'll do some more live streams. Who knows? We're going to try to do the weekly Pirates content. I've kind of enjoyed doing the Pirates stuff more so than the MLB stuff, but that's just me, just because it's the team I love, sadly. And I think a lot of Pirates fans, if you're listening to this right now, we all agree. We love them, but it sucks. It really does. This trade deadline was just a slap in the face. And like I said, this was not a video to diss any of the prospects they got. I am rooting for their success. That's all we can do as fans. This is a video just to show how incompetent this organization has been, especially the GM. And I can't keep blaming Bob because he's not selling the team. And Bob Nutting also sucks. He's a part of the problem. He's the biggest problem. But if he wants to fix something and show the fans he's angry, or should be angry, fire Ben Cherington. That's all you can do. But yeah. Thank you all for watching this episode of the pod. Make sure to like the video. Thank you all for subscribing. Went up on subscribers a good bit after that live stream. So make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It means a lot. Thank you as always for watching. If you think of a name of the podcast, also let me know. I'm still thinking. I'm doing experiments with the stupid Twitter Grok. The Grok AI. That's something else. But yeah. Thank you all for watching this more of a rant episode. We went a little bit longer than I usually like to do. But, this was healthy. I think this was healthy for all of us as fans. But thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and as always, comment down below some of your thoughts. Let me know about the episode, what you liked and what you disliked about it. Thank you all for watching. Have a good one, and let's go Bucks.